See, it's a well, it's a bit of an honor to see you, really. And
My pleasure.
yeah, no, right. And these days are very special. Yesterday was the 4th of May, and in the Netherlands, that's Remembrance Day of the Dead. So we had 2 minutes of silence in Amsterdam, and everywhere in the country, the people were silent and remembering all the casualties in all the wars since World War II. So that was special, and on the same day, your president visited our country. So
Yeah.
it was quite special to have your president visiting our country yesterday on a special day. It is so. Yeah, that was special. And today is May 5th, and that's our Liberation Day. So it's well, these are two special days, I would say.
We'll
So
come to our Liberation Day soon.
I hope. And yeah, so I had prepared some questions for you, and I don't know if you've seen them. So and feel free if you like to answer it or not. Because I can imagine, sometimes the things might be too well delicate or whatever. So
Yeah, let's
yes,
see.
let's see. Yeah, yeah. So one thing, the reason, it has been more than a year that Russia invaded the Ukraine. And we still have to remember this, especially on this day in the Netherlands as a Liberation Day. But there's still war going on in your country, and it has to stop. But and I think that also in our magazine we also put notice of the war going on, what's happening, how is it, impacting the whole world, supply chains, etc. So that's
Mhm.
and I next week we also have an event where we have the former commander in chief of the NATO forces in Afghanistan, who was commander in chief of 45,000 soldiers over there. And he is talking about Ukraine a lot. He's all over the news and thinking about it. So we are, on top of this topic. But getting back to you, I was wondering, could you ever have imagined that you would get into a war before February 24th last year?
Um, Honestly speaking, no, at this extent, not. So, in the century of efficiency, innovations, digitalization, where human rights, humanity, sustainability are on the top of the agenda, we couldn't, and me personally, we couldn't expect this kind of war at this scale. We all have here, yeah, the tension were increasing in the country. And while talking with the businesses and different associations and talking with the government, so the maximum scenario, and this was basically our mistake, what we prognosed was the escalation on the east as the real war started in 2014.
Hmm.
But I couldn't have imagined that it will start everywhere from all sides and at this scale. And if I would knew, I would not be at that day on the vacation because I was on the short vacations when it all started. And my head of security called and said, Lena, it's all started. I said, but we know what to do because there were several buses in Mariupol standing ready to evacuate our people and their families anytime, any second. So we know the algorithm, what we do with this or how we exit the city. And he was saying, no, you don't understand. It started everywhere. They are near Kiev, they are in Chernigiv, they are in Kherson, in Mykolaiv, everywhere. So no, and it makes really no sense. And still sometimes, yes, we are living in these days more than a year in this war. I can't say that we get used to this reality. We get used and we know what to do in different um, situations in this reality, but we don't get used to. And when you stand a little bit out on the balcony and looking at what you're doing in your routine, it still makes no sense.
No, yeah, I can imagine. So you were on a short holiday. So where were you at that in February
I
if
was
you touch on?
visiting my friend in Zurich, and when I learned it at night at 4 a.m., I packed my suitcase immediately and I went back to the country. And I was the only person who was crossing the border to the country that
Mm.
day.
So,
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 and
so what did you experience? Did you see a lot of people leaving the
yeah,
countries? Yeah. So you
it
were.
was it was approximately 50 kilometers queue in 5 rows
Mhm,
from cars, people. And I already mentioned on one of the conferences that, and still saying this to the people, that it's so much printed in my memory. I would never forget these desperate eyes
mm,
when people don't understand what is happening. They don't know what is going on and what will happen. So this fear, desperation, it's incredible. I still remember this.
So and I don't know your personal situation. Are you married? Do you have kids, or are you, is?
I have a kid. I am not married. I have a kid. He is 15 years old now, was 14 at that time.
Mhm,
And he was in Kiev at school.
mm,
And his school was on the territory which were occupied an hour later that we managed to take him out of that school.
mm,
So it was not possible because it's outside of city, and it was not possible to take a car or call a taxi because Kiev was also leaving from the
mhm,
city. And by accident, we found a taxi who was there at that moment of the time. He picked up my son, brought him to my mom, and in 1 hour, this city where the school was, it was occupied by Russians,
mm.
and
Yeah.
terrible things were happening there
Yeah. Oh,
afterwards.
on a personal note, I was on a summer holiday in the Caribbean those days. It was quite strange. So I had a 1 week vacation, and I was in the Caribbean. And on the news, I was following what's happening over there. So I had a kind of guilty feeling that I was on a holiday for a week. On one hand, and other hand, this thing, unimaginable things happening in Ukraine. That was well. That's
Yeah, but I heard from many people that they felt guilty, but you shouldn't feel guilty. You shouldn't be sorry for us. I mean, we need support, but we don't want to be that pity us, that people are sorry about us. So we are strong. We will win. Just need to support and don't feel guilty that you are not experiencing this. Be happy that, and I never ever wish to anyone to go through this.
no, no, no. I
Never
can't.
ever in the life.
No, 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 but it's good to know. But yeah, okay, it's good that this is understanding. And so you are. Can you describe briefly what your responsibilities are as CEO, and what Metro Cash and Carry is all doing in your country as a business, and what is your responsibility?
Yeah, as usual, CEO is responsible for the organization. What
Yeah,
does it mean? You take care about the people, and
yeah,
people care about the business.
yeah,
So here in Ukraine, we have 26 stores
yeah.
all over the country, and now 24 is working because one store is on occupied territory in Mariupol, and one store is in Kharkiv, but it's very close to the border with Russia, so it's still not secure to open it. But this year we have already reopened 2 more stores
Okay,
because almost a year we've been operating only with 22.
okay,
So the business is up and running. Our customers are business customers, HoReCa customers, hotels, restaurants, and cafes, small traders, as well as end consumers. Yeah, with a mission, more stock up mission. So people coming to our stores to make the bigger purchase
yeah.
rather than in retail near the store.
Has that changed? So I can imagine, Metro, traditionally it's more business to business. Has it changed since the beginning of the war that you also start to, service consumers in your business? Has that changed?
No, it hasn't changed significantly, but there was in the beginning of the war more for us more humanitarian mission. So we were the base to simply supply food for anyone.
Hmm.
Because in comparison to other players, I mean our colleagues in this business area, retail,
Hmm.
we have big shelves, and big stocks in our high racks in the store. So the last product we're finishing in our stores. So that's why we were, like supporting humanitarian mission and giving the food to militaries, to territorial defense, to people who come and buy. So because we know that people count on us, and that's why in the beginning of the war, there was a situation when there was really not clear what is happening and was dangerous for the personnel to go to work in the store. And we were staying closed, I think, for 2 days, 3 days maximum. And then we started, okay, guys, but people need to eat. We need to open the stores. So, and we open our main stores that people can come and take food. And now it came all back to the base, to our base customer mix. So there are HoReCa customers, our end consumers, and small entrepreneurs, traders.
No, I'm also going to the macro in the Netherlands. So I'm also a small business owner myself. So I know your business. So one thing, what I don't know. You said you're responsible for the people. Of course, you for the whole business, and you have a supply chain background yourself. So we'll get to that. But I was wondering, had that thing changed since a lot of men have to go to the front? Have you seen your population of your employees changing? That that a lot of men has to go to the front lines and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, indeed. In my company, there are 152 boys and girls as well. So they are fighting on the front or in the territory defense. So we also taking care of them. So we are continuing paying them salaries and we keep keeping their workplaces. But every day it's very scary when you hear the news and you don't want to hear that one of your team members died somewhere. Unfortunately, we have casualties in our company. In general, across the country, yes, there is continuing mobilization, and men are either going voluntarily or there is another wave of mobilization in the moment. And we are struggling that we have more women in the company, 70% than the men. And some jobs, they can't be replaced by women, unfortunately. I cannot replace butcher by female.
No.
There is a rule in the country that some men on the critical position, in the critical infrastructure, you can put on reserve. But in case of a bigger mobilization or escalation, everybody will go.
Yeah. Getting back to the casualties, as a CEO, I can imagine I spoke to the former commander in chief who we will present next week, and he had also had casualties in Afghanistan in his forces. Unfortunately, I can imagine. So what does it do to you? Because how does it work? It's quite strange or new for a CEO to be confronted with this kind of news.
It was, this thing is exactly something that I have never been experiencing, and it was very difficult for me. The first death, I couldn't understand and accept it. Was difficult, but I know I have a big organization. I have 3,200 people, and I know they count on me. They are looking at me, and I am basically the person who secure them, who give them the hope for tomorrow, a little bit, even in this ambiguity, volatility, and this chaos, giving them hope that tomorrow will exist. They are secured. And yes, in such cases, when we learn, especially about our first death, I make the big meeting all together, and we basically honored this person, our guy, that he's a hero, and we let our emotions go. It's very important for CEO in these crisis times. First of all, you need to show your emotions. You are a human being. It's okay to have emotions. No, this is the right thing to have emotions and not to hide them. And even during especially in the beginning of the war, during this kind of meetings, we allow ourselves to show emotions and to discuss our emotions, what we feel. And it's very important. It's very important and critical for the CEO to be attached to his team or to her team, and to show that you're a human being, you're with them. Yes, we cry, but we all honor our heroes, and heroes never die.
No. Good point. Yeah. I was in a hotel last month in Amsterdam, and at breakfast I was serviced by a woman, and she spoke to me. Did you get your eggs? Blah blah. And I said yes, and I heard her English, and I'm thinking, well, are you from Ukraine? And she said yes. And so okay, are you here? Oh no, she's with her son, 8 years old, and will be educated. And she was grateful because her son is learning Dutch, and I was happy to support that, on a distance. But I said, do you have a husband, whatever? And she said, yes, my husband died out of bullet, a straight bullet. And then it hit me, because that stuff, then it was real. It was not, refugees. It was, someone who lost a loved one. And then but then again, she was happy that I asked for it, and I was a bit confused that I asked for it. I didn't expect this, that she had lost her husband.
Yeah, in Ukraine, there are not a single person left who has not who hasn't been impacted by the war, either by relatives or by friends or personal family. I mean, we all are suffering and paying our price for that.
Yes, yeah, I know. That's a pity. Um, Getting back to the business, I can imagine, what we heard in the first weeks, month, shortages, etc. How did you continue well, to get your shell filled, and that you get continue your business, because things were changing, maybe factories were closed, whatever. So how did you secure supply?
Let me start from today and the overall business performance.
Yes.
Yeah, from -70 to -10 to pre-war times in sales. From 13 stores, as I mentioned, and 22, we're already operating 24 stores. We were cash positive on the second months of the war. In 6 months, we paid out all our overdues to all our partners, including overseas partners. Availability from 50% to 92% in the moment, with a continuous growth of OTIF, on time and full. And we made our strategy for the next 7 years, and all our main KPIs and strategic KPIs are above the targets and above our expectations. So we are back on track, but coming in the beginning of the war, back then, yeah, it was really difficult. It was difficult because of bombing. More than 0.5% of existed warehouses were bombed. Our suppliers' warehouses were burned to the scratch. There was our warehouse, which was next to Kiev, with fresh, ultra fresh goods. It was on occupied territories, and the helicopter, which was shot down, fell to the wires and destroyed the electricity connection to the warehouse. This is fresh. This is cold chain.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get to the warehouse because it was on the occupied territories, basically around 5 million euros were there. Okay, so there was only one person, the guy, the administrator of this warehouse on that territory, because he lives next to it. And we asked him to open and give all what can be given to the neighboring villages, to the people.
Yep.
But there was some frozen goods on storage, which you can't give to the people, and they don't know what to do, and they have no electricity as well, so they can simply cook.
Yeah.
And honestly, I thought that we will lose it completely. But in 3 days, the territory were deoccupied, and the warehouse was so good that it kept the temperature till that day. And we managed to save around 80% of what was in the frozen. So the rest we gave to the people, so it was okay. And our other warehouses were the main dry non-temperature one, the ambient one on the other part of outside Kiev. It was close to be occupied. So we knew that the Russian troops are moving towards this area, and we started to ship the goods to all the stores. So everywhere, but not only to give them that they could take them. So we managed, I think that we managed to, make possible impossible possible. We shipped in a week, I think, all the goods, and there was also around 15 million euro. So it was crazy how fast at that time, and it was difficult with the transport, because you imagine, I remember in the beginning was problem to find a truck. Even if you find the truck, you can't find the driver. If you find the driver, you can't find fuel, because the fuel stations were also attacked and bombed. And then I was sitting and remember in the hotel and calling to the CEO of Ukrainian National Post and saying, I have a truck, but I don't have fuel. He said, okay, I have a fuel, but I don't have a driver. I said, okay, give me the fuel. I called to another national logistic CEO and owner, and I said, listen, Slava, I have a truck. I found Igor gave me the fuel, but now I need a driver. I said, okay, we will give you a driver. So, and this kind of high level of cooperation from different sides, from people you know, you don't know, you're quite well acquainted, you are not acquainted, but through all these kind of things, we managed all together to survive. For example, this Ukrainian Post, they are also responsible for bringing pension to the people in the villages in cash. Small villages, they are those people who bringing them pension, and there is no cash in the country. And that was in Kharkiv. He was calling me and saying, can I take your cash from the store and put you into account? And I have another bank who is making cash collection. I said, yeah, you can, I will manage this. So I called to the bank CEO and said, listen, Igor needs, because he needs to go to the people and give them pension that they can buy food. Because yesterday, another bank with which he agreed was bombed out and completely all was burned. So, and this kind of things, this was so amazing how the country, people from all sides, they supported each other, and this is how we survived, and this is how we became stronger now. And this is what really I would say, outstanding feature of our nation, and that's why we will never lose. That's why we are confident that we win.
Yeah. So yeah, I am also confident that, and I do hope so. And I think it is good to hear that you have these connections and that you are so quickly responding to this. And I was wondering, the readers, I will have your profile also with a supply chain background. Has it worked for you that that you have moved from supply chain area up to the CEO level, that you have this practical approach?
Yeah, supply chain, I always tell to my team and to other people that supply chain will always be in my blood and heart.
Yeah.
And this, it gave me a lot. Supply chain, there are different functions. There is selling, buying organization, different. Depends, are you a producer or you a reseller or you a retailer, wholesale, whatsoever. But supply chain, these are veins. These are veins where the blood flows, which is connecting all the organs. That's so critical and important. Yes, surely. Supply chain background helps me all the time a lot. After being in supply chain for more than 10 years, I moved to commercial department, to buying, so I was exploring my capabilities there. And it helped me a lot in terms of the cost of the goods, improving availability, because availability is not something that is only on the supply chain shoulders. This is everyone's KPIs. Everybody is directly or indirectly influencing availability. So, but knowing how the connection works, it helps me a lot. Even Even we made a new project. I made a new project, and now it's a big initiative, commercial initiatives. We have an own production.
Okay.
So own production where we packed rices, pulses, and it came out in 2014 after the first war started, after the main war started. So, and there was a lack of goods and supplies. And when I looked at from whom we are buying, I said, okay, they are repackers. Let's cut this part of the chain and let's pack ourselves and be responsible for the quality and for the availability. So this kind of understanding that supply chain connections and how these chains works, giving you also great ideas to where you can be more efficient, how you can be more efficient. And then it decreases your cost of goods, which you can reinvest into the prices for your customers and make their businesses better, make their lives better. So indeed, supply chain always in my mind and heart and soul.
Well, good to hear. When I explain supply chain, I think, when I said, in the business you have two legs. One is a commercial leg, marketing, sales, product development, and the other one is supply chain, plan, source, make, and deliver. And I said, as a company, you have to walk on two legs. Otherwise, you would be limping. So that's what my explanation.
Yeah,
But it's good to say,
indeed.
supply chain is in the veins of a company. Yeah.
Yeah.
You also, what I read somewhere, that you are overcoming challenges of sourcing locally and also from smaller farms, and also redirecting of import via Poland and Romania. Can you explain something? How do you are?
Yeah, because what we faced when in the beginning of the war, some suppliers were on occupied territories, they cannot approach their production places. On some suppliers, the warehouses were destroyed and they started importing. So we faced with a situation that the goods on our shelf are disappearing because we don't have the supply. So what we started to usually we get used to work with the bigger suppliers and national wise. So what we did, we redistributed the sourcing to the local national wise, because there are always a supplier in the region, the smaller one, who can supply at least one store. Usually we works with a national coverage. So, and by this we secured the availability of critical important goods on the shelves. Then Odessa port still blocked, and all our imported goods were going through Odessa port. But team very fast. I have an amazing team, by the way. They are the greatest team ever. So they redistribute this flows via Romania, Constanța, and Klaipėda, and then by road. So yes, the lead time has increased. It's impacting the stock days, but the more you sell, the better the stock days. It's all about the choice, what you sell and how.
Yeah, you have an amazing team. I can imagine, on one hand you are, connecting with other CEOs to collaborate, and on the supply chain level, they also have to respond. So I was wondering, did you have a war room or something on your level, or in a supply chain level? So how do you organize? How do you make sure that yourself and your supply chain people are able to respond, that they have the overview to make the right choices?
Usually, and before the war, we always preaching the empowerment in the team. So we didn't have the centralized CEO directions, ordnung, or whatsoever. So our teams are really, and we are preaching this in the organization, they're empowered. That's why it was easier for us in the beginning of the war. We just incorporated certain algorithms based on the triggers. For instance, if the Russian troops will come to X kilometers from our store, who doing what? That's it. So the rest, the team was, they know what to do and how to act. They came just for the support. But we were running also every day, 2 times a day, anti-crisis call in the beginning at 7 a.m. in the morning to understand which stores we can open, where is it's secured, and what we are doing, how we are relocating people, which financial support we are doing. And at the end of the day, so how it worked, shall we take something into consideration? Did everything worked as we planned? So we basically moved from strategic planning, as it was before the war, to the tactical ones. We were living day by day. Later, when this kind of reality, we started to understand how it's moving. So we moved to the lower frequency only in the morning. Like 1 year, we still were running calls in the morning, but we decreased the circle. So we let the people work. It was basically the board members who had this call in the morning. And we were closely communicating with people also. So I was running every week big calls with all the team, independently where they were abroad in the country, to explain them. And it's critically important for the CEO in the crisis times, at any crisis, and especially when this kind of crisis, to give them communication, to explain what you're doing, where are you going, do you relocating people, how you can support them. So this kind of things you are communicating openly, transparently, and regularly, because this gives the team secureness. Even in this kind of times, they can count on you. They understand that, okay, they have something tomorrow, they have you to contact, and this also builds trust.
Are you going to the warehouses and the stores a lot yourself?
Yeah, always, before and now. Last week I was in Kryvyi and Mykolaiv.
Yeah.
I was also in Kharkiv. So yes, I'm traveling to the stores. This is my job. I mean, to talk to people. If I'm responsible for the people, I want to look at their eyes. I want to talk to them, and I'm so happy always to be with people and talk to them. Look at the customers, speak about the customers, look at the stores. This is where the life is. I mean, in the head office, yes, this is about the planning, but the real life is in the stores with the customers. I
No, it's good to
also
know.
visit customers.
Yeah, yeah,
Very
yeah.
often.
Regarding customers, I also heard about, so you're servicing the hospitality business, that some customers change their menus to candle menus.
Yeah, there was a period of time when in September, Russians started to attack our critical infrastructure, and we were sitting in the blackouts.
Yeah,
Sometimes there were no electricity, no heat, no water,
yeah,
respectively, because there is no electricity, like for several days in a row. And then this was for 4 months. We
yeah.
were living in blackouts. In the beginning, very critical. Later, there was like schedule when there is no electricity supply, and then for 2 hours we had.
Mm,
And it was amazing, really amazing, how people, especially business people, how entrepreneurial, how brave they are, how courageous and creative, because this is their business, this is what their family live from.
yeah,
So, and they are adapting it like amazingly. They create these candle menus. They put out hosper, this big open fire
yeah.
outside. They were cooking on this hosper and serving people inside in the candles. And this was a romantic candle menu. It's really amazing. So later they were starting buying generators. Then they make new formats of the stores. Even new outlets are opening.
Mm,
I mean, even new restaurants, hotels, not so many, but still they are opening. But new outlets, I mean, Horeca restaurants are opening.
yeah. And so you mentioned hotels. So one of your major customer segments are the hotel business. Are they still open, or is
Yeah,
hotels are running?
yeah, they're running.
Yeah,
There are different occupancy rates. In the beginning was closed,
yeah.
especially big international chain of the hotels, they were closed. Then I think it started somewhere May, June, they started reopening them. occupancy rate was very low.
Yeah.
Starting from the south up to 8%, and western part of Ukraine was 30, Kiev area from 15 to 20. So now the picture is changing. There are a lot of foreigners are coming. Embassies have came back. Journalists, people who moved from other territories. So it's now I'm talking about Kiev. So in Kiev, occupancy rate is around, on average, 50-60%.
Okay.
Some hotels is even above 80 because of the foreign visitors and embassies and their staff. And western part, it's up to 50%, the occupancy rate. The worst picture is in the south, because south is still under the threat, and the Black Sea is mined. So, and it will be no season for next 5 years until the Black Sea will be demined.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's
But still, even in the south, we had yesterday, for example, we had gastro event, Metro Safari inside our stores for HoReCa customers. There were very lot of chefs and restaurant owners came to us to visit us, and then they sound positive about the season. So they will move from from swimming in the sea to swimming in the pool, but still breathing the sea. Yeah, these people are amazing. I tell you, they are so entrepreneurial. They will definitely find something out, and they will create their own season, even in such times and such situation.
Yeah, it's good to hear that you are so positive, and your people are so entrepreneurial, and finding new ways and adapting to all this. So you said yourself, you already look ahead to have strategic plans for to grow. So how can you plan in these days? Because I read some articles yesterday. The European and U.S. forces have supplied you with the military stuff to counterattack. So is this something on your mind, or have you? Because I think that is still uncertain. And I hope, but can you make your plans to grow and to do new endeavors?
I'm a strong believer in all the times you can make a plan.
Yeah.
It depends on on the assumptions. Yes, assumptions can change, but there are several assumptions, and one of them you can influence, the other one you can't influence. So in case your scenario is not working, then you should influence that other assumption to get to your target. So nothing is impossible. It's all the question, time, money, and engagement. Yeah, we had this scenario. There are certain macroeconomic, definitely, assumptions that we put into our plan. And the customers, basically, they haven't changed. Yeah, people still will eat food. I'm working in the food industry, right? Even I'm working with the professional customers, it's still food. It's all about the food. Food and pharma, they will be on the agenda. So people eat their 2,000 calories, and it depends what you will do that they buy this 2,000 calories with you. So it's all depend on you. So the commercial initiatives are not influenced by these macro assumptions.
No.
And there are certain levers, again, that you can push and make more, or if in case the other lever is slow down.
Yeah. Okay. And getting back to personnel people. So here in the West, we are screaming about personnel scarcity and that stuff, and I think that's minor compared what you are facing in your area. So is it an issue, getting enough people to work for you, or is it a challenge for future plans?
It's a challenge, and we are approaching this challenge even now. So we are trying to prepone it to substitute as much processes that can be done by the machines, by the automatic digitalization. For instance, there is shortages on the personnel for the stores, like cashiers, yeah, especially women. Like 8 million people outside of Ukraine nowadays, and they are mostly women who usually works on the cashiers. Men are on the front. So basically, there are digital solutions that we are integrating. So self-checkout, there are fast line checkout, which are more for the professional customers. So yeah, we are trying to approach that. Not in every area you can do this.
No.
So there will be we will be, especially when the war is over, we will be competing on the salary level with the countries, with the neighboring countries, like with Poland. So we do understand that this assumption, and we already considering this in our plans and this strategic plans, so that the cost of the personnel will as well grow. So, and then, it's all dependent on the other financials. So on the one hand, what we are doing is digitalization where we can. On the other hand, there is always a risk matrix where you can address it via reorganizing the structure. For example, in the headquarters, in the store, to make it as efficient as possible with 10-20% of vacancies. Now we are working in the stores with 20% of vacancies.
No, it's good to see, and we have some challenges here in Europe, in Western Europe, but I think that the digitalization part is necessary. And we talk about ChatGPT and robotic process automation, and I think
we're already working.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're already working with robotics. So all the routine process, for example, in store support office, in our head office, we call it store support office. Like in finance, in HR, they are robotized. So we have robots that are making this. I'm not signing papers in life, so I'm signing everything in digital. So I think we are more digitalized country than the Western world. Yeah, but it's true, I was on this Euro shop in Düsseldorf.
Yep.
And there was a great company that were trying to show me the solution of one process. And I said, listen, guys, I can show you the whole process, how it's digitalized in my company nowadays. And then I showed them, we have DIA. This is a
So I
application.
missed a part of a sentence. Sorry. Yeah, there was a connection.
Where I stopped.
No, you had DIA or something?
DIA. This is the governmental application where which is legalized because it was developed by the Ministry of Digital Transformation. So we have all our documents, passport, IDs, technical documents for the car, health certificates, vaccination certificates, birth certificates of your kids. So everything in this app. We can also sign documents in this app, and it's now already in synchronization with EU, that the signature is also legal for European countries. So we don't need even our papers, our documents. We never carry them. And sometimes when I'm going to the business trip, I'm afraid to forget my basically hard copy passport because I get used to the app.
Yeah. No, it's good to hear, and of course, Ukrainian tech people already have a good reputation about digitalization and that kind of stuff. But it's good to see that your company, that Metro, has already applied robotic process automation, that kind of stuff, in the headquarters, in the administration part. And in the stores and the warehouses, is there also more and more automation or robotization over there? This physical robotization, or is it still
Yeah,
A lot of manual.
warehouses, of course, they are robotized.
Yeah.
You make picking. This is everything is automatized. The warehouse management system. This is clear, because otherwise you will not have this service level. In the stores, we have self-checkout, so half of the process they are automatized. For example, I will start from the beginning for the customer experience. The customers, for example, in our stores, they can scan QR codes and compare prices in our store with the other players. So it's like scanner that we are transparent and they can compare. They can also get the information about the product via this QR code. Then when they go to the checkout, we have two solutions. We have self-checkout, like when you are scanning yourself at the point of the checkout, and we have fast line. When you on the way, you take goods from the shelf, you scan it with your mobile, then you go to the checkout gates and just pay. So that's it. So this is fast line, 4 seconds versus 4 minutes.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. You know, I've seen it. Albert Heijn in the Netherlands has some of these stores, but you already have rolled it out to a large extent, and Amazon has it in what is it, in Oregon area. So when you went to this retail trade show in Düsseldorf, what kind of things inspire you, or are you still have enough inspiration left, or is it already done at your side?
No, there was some interesting things and interesting solution, especially in sustainability. I still think that on this part we need to be more proactive. Though even here in Ukraine, we are taking the leading role on sustainability. But I would wish that the whole country takes the same level of attitude to this topic as we are. So sustainability solutions are pretty interesting. The rest, basically, I think I was aware of, and there are different variations of that.
So
but
next week,
it's a good event.
Yeah, no, we have next week we have our innovation event, and we have a lot of international speakers, etc. And we have 3 tracks basically. One is on visibility, one is on planning, and it's a lot of about digital planning, ChatGPT, that kind of stuff. And the third track is on sustainability. So we have a lot of startup scale-ups on sustainability, of tracking, the sources of food and other products, that stuff. Also carbon accounting and carbon measurements. So I have analyzed in the last 5 years almost 300 supply chain startups, all from supply management up to last mile delivery, and also blockchain, sustainability, so 10 categories of that. So we have a lot of context of new players, especially in sustainability. So that's something you might be interested in, and that's good that you. But do you mean Metro as a company are leading in that area compared to the rest?
Yeah, on Ukrainian markets.
Yeah.
Well, I think in many markets. Okay, I'm talking now for myself. I don't want to underestimate my colleagues in other countries. Definitely, they are doing also everything and even more advanced in this. But here in Ukraine, we really caring about food waste management. We have this food waste sorting stations almost in all our stores, where people can come and separately put waste to separate their waste of different types. As well as we put 2 stations for giving second chance for the clothes and shoes. And also engaging HoReCa customers, like hotels, when their bed sheets already outdated, that they bring it to us, not just to utilize them. We really do care about the plastic, and we connect here plastic initiative, collecting plastic with this charity. So we have fundamats in our stores where people put bottles, plastic bottles.
Yeah.
For these bottles, they get points, and then these points they can basically give to donation either for pets or for elderly houses or for orphanages or to support Ukrainian army.
Mm.
So it's all digitalized. It's next to our stores. And, this is like double-sided. Yeah. On the one hand, this is sustainability. On the other hand, this is social responsibility.
Well, these guys are amazing initiatives. I had a workshop earlier this year about sustainability, about a packaging company. They are servicing retailers with the packaging, and there's a lot of plastic. And what they did is that, they did they put the machines over there to shrink all the plastic and recycle it. So they deliver their packaging, and as a returnable stuff, they take away take back all the plastics. They call it it's a milk run, and what they call it happy plastic. So they recycle all the plastics.
It's very interesting. I would really like one day to look at the process, how they are doing, because I know that how costful is that.
I don't know. Yeah, I have to look it up. But basically,
because when you start talking about sustainability, but really in practice with the suppliers, because everybody wants to be sustainable, but to speak about this and to integrate this in reality and to put it in life is different things. Because in real life it costs money, and then when it comes to the point of the money, and then we don't want to decrease our margins, but we also don't want to put it into the price for the customers, because there will be the decrease of the demand. And then this is never-ending discussion.
But basically
so
what
it's
they did,
always interesting.
This packaging companies, they are supplying the retailers and manufacturers, but basically it's a lock-in, because they put in the machines where you can put in your plastic trash and so pick it up, and basically they are competing with other companies who are assembling all the trash and whatever. So basically they make money out of their plastics, and basically they deliver packaging and they return the plastic, and they take along the plastics as returns. So basically now they are selling this plastics back to companies who are making this new plastic out of it. So you see new business models coming up, and that's the thing. So yes, of course, it will take investments, but then again, it's where you can make money, and making money out of raw materials. So raw materials are recycled materials.
So there is a full cycle, then you can even earn on that.
Yes. So basically, and that's what they are looking at. And I talked to some companies who are, creating new business models. And as funny thing is, two companies next week on stage. One is producing floor tiles, and that's interface, and they're delivering to office buildings, etc. And they are also carbon neutral now. And another one is Signify, what's formerly known as Philips Lighting. So they will be both on stage, but they came in a call as a preparation for their presentation next week. They already had an idea together. Why don't we create floor tiles with different kind of lighting? It will change the color, and this floor tiles already made out of fishing nets from Vietnam, out of recycled material. So there are now also all bio-based material. And Signify, formerly Philips Lighting, is also heavily betting on sustainability. So basically, they created a new concept during this call, and they will repeat it next week on stage. So we have to create new combinations, and then you are not locked in. You have to invest, and do you spend the money and increase your price, etc. No. So basically, So that's the new way of working. Create new business models.
I would love to, if you will have the review of these companies in your magazine.
Yeah, Yeah, and I have some yeah, and I know I'm talking with a lot of companies on sustainability, so I'm happy to reconnect on this. Yeah, we covered a lot.
Tell me any more questions, anything I can share more that can be useful for
Yeah.
your
No,